Hello everyone and welcome to The Chosen Generation. The Chosen Generation is a platform where we engage with young people on issues that affect them in the church. Today we are discussing the concept men are trash. Does this concept reverberate in the secret chambers of the minds of many in the church? What do these men look like? Do they wear navy suits, brown shoes, brown belts? Well, we went out to the street to ask a few young people what they thought about this, and this is what they had to say.
Yes, we do have men that are trash. Even the church system in itself supports men that are trash. We need to stop sugarcoating things and call people out for what they do. We fear these men and they are respected, so it makes it very hard to call them out. But if the church, especially the women, get into a habit of supporting victims and other women and stop protecting these men, then things could be better.
Yeah, we have. I think we need men in the church to start clubs, like football clubs. They all go to the stadium together, then afterwards they have fellowship. They group themselves in smaller groups to discuss issues which relates to them being labeled trash.
Men who are abusive and are not well trained on what manhood or priesthood is are a problem in our churches and in the society. Unfortunately, it is very hard to teach a grown man what they failed to learn while young. Families play a vital role in molding men to be who they ought to be. Some grew up in shattered homes and they are clueless on how women must be treated. So while the church plays a role in teaching young men, most of these ugly traits often trace back to how one was raised. The church cannot take all the blame. These men stay in homes more than they sit in church for a few hours once a week. The home is the training ground. Bearing children and parenting are two different things. Paying bills isn't enough. Let boys be trained in these homes. Fathers must train and also model what they train. Can't tell a young man to be caring towards women when he watches the father ill-treats the mother daily. Solutions lie in homes more than in churches on this one.
Well, you have heard the interesting comments from the young people. You can also share your views with us on our social media platforms. The hashtag is on the screen. Let us know what you think. We're going to a break right now, but we'll be right back. Stay tuned. Welcome back. You're still watching The Chosen Generation. Today we're asking the question, is the concept hashtag men are trash effective in whatever it seeks to achieve? Well, you can share your views with us. The contact details of our social media pages on the screen. Let us know what you think about this. I'm not alone today. I've got a few guests who are going to help us unpack this issue and perhaps even answer the question that we're leading with today. Let me introduce our guests. I'll start on my left. We have with us Mr. Vaughan.
Hey,
Vaughan, thank you so much for coming to help us here. And we have Ntsako. Thank you so much for being with us today. Kevin, thank you for helping us with this subject. And finally, we have Randy. Thank you so much for helping us. All right, guys, men are trash. Yep. Okay. Okay, let's start. Let's start with the Ntsako. This concept, we hear it in the pews, or let me not say pews, but the corridors or in the streets. We hear people saying men are trash and whatever. What is the concept? What does it mean? Do you agree with what it represents?
So the whole concept of men are trash is men who do negative behaviors towards women, whether it can be abuse or just not treating them well or cheating. So any negative connotation that, according to women, is that men are just classified into that category of men are trash, which I feel is a bit of a overgeneralized statement in the fact that not all men are trash.
not all men are trash. But don't you think that? All right, okay, fine, Vaughn. Maybe you can come in here. She's talking about how or what it symbolizes, or what it represents. Men doing bad things to women, and perhaps you can speak to why that's the case. Why are women failing to protect, to nurture? Instead, we do something that makes us deserve this hashtag men are trash.
So why are men failing to protect? Listen, I think there's a lot of of reasons why men or certain men act the way they do. But I think with the phrase of the hashtag in itself, agreeing with what she just said, it really seeks to generalize. And I think more than anything, I mean, I like the idea that it really does, to some extent, raise consciousness about certain actions. But I think we ought to be very careful as well, because it might also serve to sort of dampen the morale of those men who aren't actually trash, by generalizing like that. So I think that's my one issue with that. But why men act the way they act, I think we're gonna need to dive deep, because there's a lot of issues.
Maybe I should bring you in, Randy. Maybe the same question, this concept, what it means to you. Do you agree with it? And is it there in the church? Do you think that church men can be trash? And why are they failing to defend women?
I think it's especially prevalent in the church because of...
Especially prevalent.
Yes, because when you look at where church structures and the like have come from way back when, it was very patriarchal, it was very misogynistic, it was very sexist. There are some churches where women aren't allowed to be behind the pulpit, but the church rather is seen as a female figure. Yet a woman cannot extend that word to the congregation. So that speaks to those systematic behaviors that we've adopted and have become normalized. So I completely agree that men are trash. And if you don't believe you're trash, it's like someone saying you're ugly when you know you're not ugly. Are you going to fight?
So you feel that men putting the argument that there are some good men is just a diversion?
It really is a diversion, and it's a means to try and kind of justify the fact that I'm a good man. If you're a good man, what are you doing to further that to your other men? Vaughan said that men are trash would dampen the morale of, the good men. If anything, it's supposed to encourage them to talk to their fellow man and get them to account, take responsibility, and actually be better. You know what I mean? So that's my stance, that I do believe that all men are trash in their own way. If you're not, then you're not. But deep down, the things that you do that contribute to the systematic oppression of females in the church.
Kerwin, are you trash? Maybe there's something wrong. I want you to speak to this. Maybe there's something wrong in the way that we are training up boys, that they end up behaving like that, particularly in the church. Do you think there's something wrong with the way that boys are taught, that they behave like trash?
There's a lot that's wrong.
Okay.
There's a lot that's wrong. Because maybe just we start by the part, how you told what you think you are?
Yeah.
This time, if you think you're not, you are.
Oh.
Also,
okay, wait, can you break that down? Break that down. Yeah.
So what we're saying is the mere fact that you chill with your boys, as I'm chilling with my boys, and you are telling me of a girl, and you are mixing her with another and another, and it's all in secret. They all don't know each other. And I'm there clapping hands for you. Whose trash was not? So what I'm saying is, when a mad person thinks they're not mad, they're mad. And when a person who is mad thinks they are not mad.
All right. Right, before I come to you, Vaughn, then let's get Randy on this.
I just want to add on to that, in that I think your question was, is the church raising men differently? And it is. And a clear example of this is growing up in the church, we'd have the women's ministries things, and then there'd be whatever the men were doing. In the women's ministries ones, you need to pray for your marriage. You need to begazela. You need to do all these things, you know, that coddle the man instead of holding him accountable for his actions. You'd hear, or, you know, just even your normal divorce scenario. The woman is always asked, can you not see past this? Can you not forgive? Can you not, you know, they always try to push that agenda of the strong woman. Why am I the one who always has to be strong? Why can a man not be strong against these temptations and things like that? You know, there's been a vast difference in how boys and girls are raised in the church.
Maybe let me bring you, Vaughn.
Okay.
Trash must be an identity that we must identify with. And
So,
I mean, what the system is the one that's creating the trash? What do you say about that?
so I think the system is creating the trash, one, but should we identify as it? Right? So like, what Kevin's statement is that if a madman thinks he's not mad, he's mad. But you see already from that, you already dubbed him mad.
Yeah.
Like he was already classified as mad. So what we're saying here, what if the man is not mad and you classify him as mad? Does him objecting to that classification make him mad? You see what I'm saying there? So if I'm not trash, but you dub me as trash, me objecting to that makes me trash. Right? And I think that's one thing as well, because there's those little subliminal things that as particularly as a black male that we ought to be very careful of, those little subliminal things, continuously having yourself associated with trash. I think it'll also serve to bring your mind down to actually believing you're trash as a person.
And so let me bring you in here. Women are the ones who are abused. They're the ones who are ill-treated. Don't they have a right to define and to label men as trash? Who has the honors who can decide to label? Is it correct for women to be able to say men are trash?
Well, it's very debatable as well, but women are not only the ones that are abused. I mean, in society in general, yes, today we're talking men are trash, but what about those people who abuse children? They can be female. So that's why the whole concept is a bit skewed in the fact that it only looks at men. And yes, men, there is a big problem in the male gender with the patriarchy, but it can't just be, we can't just look at abuse being men only. So I think when it comes to that, then definitely it's not only men. And I don't know, to say that women are allowed to then have the role to be allowed to label them as well, I think it is unfair. Yvonne was saying that, you know, when you're constantly telling someone they are something, eventually they're going to start believing it. But I feel with the concept, it's the wording that needs to change.
So one last thing, sorry, Midinda. And one of the things as well, our women like a lot, like just by the whole idea of trash.
Yeah.
Trash is something that was once useful, but has outdone its use.
All right.
That has already been used. So now in this case, if we're saying men are trash, who used them? Men used men. Or are we also then saying that women are the users of those same men that are trash? What are we saying? Because now we're just debating this whole phrase. So what does this phrase actually entail?
All right. Wow. Okay, this is getting very heated. This is very interesting. Our men trash. Maybe you can share your views with us on social media. Let us know what you think about this subject. We're going to a break right now, but we'll be right back with much, much more. Stay tuned. Welcome back. This is The Chosen Generation. And today we are asking, does the hashtag men are trash really work? Is it effective in what it seeks to achieve? And with me, we have a few guests that we have already been discussing this issue before the break. And I think let's continue where we left off. Maybe let me ask this question, or just throw the question the way it is. Does this hashtag work? Is it effective? Does it achieve what it seeks to achieve? What do you think? Anyone? Maybe let me start with you, Kerwin.
Maybe before that,
Yeah.
because when we went to the break, Vaughn said something. Now he said, "Is it who uses, who has used these people?"
The trash.
I just think, somehow that It's just out of order. He being trash now. But people who have used it's not the women.
Okay.
But if you check history, it's because there's something that is absent.
Okay.
Something is absent.
All right. Something is absent. Wow.
Yeah.
What is this thing
And
that is
now
absent?
coming to the question, I think the mere fact that you now have people who are against the hashtag Men Are Trash,
Yes.
then clearly it's doing its job.
Can I just also add on to that?
Okay.
There's a very popular phrase. I don't know how popular it is that side on the other gender side, but it says that females are raised and boys are loved.
Females are raised and boys are loved.
That's just me paraphrasing. It's not verbatim.
Okay.
But I think that also speaks to just how we're raised, be it in the church and at school, just in different spectrums of life, that, there's a difference and there's a disparity in the affection given to the one gender as opposed to the other. That's number one. Secondly, with regards to your question, it has been effective in that it's brought a lot of awareness out with regards to the things that women deal with when it comes to men, right? If it's not murder, if it's rape, if it's not that, it's sexual abuse, sexual assault, the list goes on. And in us saying men are trash, we're not now absolving ourselves of our wrongdoings and whatnot, right? We can address that. But the bigger problem, the biggest problem has been how men have subjected us to certain kinds of treatment over the centuries, not even over the years, over the centuries. And we finally reached a place, a plateau where we can be vocal about it. And we're not scared that, oh, my husband might kick me out of the house because I want to wear pants or something along those lines. We finally found a voice in feminism and in being able to say, you know what, I actually don't deserve that kind of treatment. So I do think it's been effective and it's doing something because people are burning in their seats. Like, people are not comfortable.
I'd like to add to that. Look, I don't think the problem is with the role of the hashtag. I mean, it's bringing light to certain issues that are very important. I just feel the wording is just off because it's not just how men have necessarily put women down, but women have also put women down. I mean, you were saying earlier on about how we are raised. We are raised by women. And, so I feel in total, some of the problems that are out there with regards to how men treat women, it's a societal thing. It's not just from one point of view. So it's very difficult to label someone as trash when the way they treat a woman was taught to them by someone else.
Can I just say something?
Well, before you go there, I just want to bring in Vaughn here, man. What is wrong? Is there a negative connotation to using this term?
Trash.
Men are trash?
I mean, anything that is classified, anything would be negative classified as trash. Trash, the word in itself, like you can attach anything. Cats are trash, dogs are trash, cars are trash. You can attach anything to trash. That just says done with its use. It's no longer useful. So whatever you attach to it, women, men, you're saying that we're done with its use. And what Corinne said is that we're saying that there's when I asked that, when we're saying that men, we're done with their use, so therefore they're trash, who used them, right? And he said that maybe it's not necessarily a matter of use, but like a sense of absenteeism in something. So then in that case, would it not be more correct to say that men are deserted or men are lacking in something than to say they're trash?
Maybe before you come in here, I want to bring another element. You all are Christian young people, and we need to now look at it from a Christian context. And it almost sounds like you're saying that God did not create well, or God created trash or something. It almost seems like it's an accusation against God or God blaming. How do you relate to standing up for a hashtag being a Christian, or standing against the hashtag being a Christian? Because obviously Christ does not condone the behaviors of men. How do you resolve these things in your mind as Christian young people in relation to God?
Okay, so Vaughn is speaking about trash being something that is done with, but he forgets that you can recycle it.
Okay. How do we recycle trash?
And then, so now you also need to remember that now if we bring it into the Christian sphere.
Yeah.
Now you're speaking of what she was talking about. Nzak was speaking of trash, maybe the wedding.
Yeah.
Do you have a wedding when a person says you're a sinner? So when you are saying, are you now blaming God that he created, he did a mistake in creating? I mean, the fact that you are a sinner, so now you view it in a way of you're trash.
Yeah.
So there's saving that needs to be done. There's recycling that needs to be done because we've now found out that Kerwin is trash.
So my thing is, Ntsako alluded in her previous statement to men are trash rather being a societal problem, breeded in society. And she also mentioned that, essentially kids are really raised by their mothers, more hands-on and everything like that. But then the other side of the coin is, where are fathers? And just to add to that, that speaks also to this whole thing of men are trash, because a lot of the time it's misinterpreted as the bitter ex or whatever. But it runs so much deeper than that. There's absent parenting, there's, the abuse and just a whole list of things. So we need to address that also, because you can't place the blame solely on a mother who can't be a father, who doesn't know what it's like to be a father, because chances are she was also raised without a father. So really she's just passing on what seems to be the only thing she knows to her. Where are the men to stand up and take accountability and own up to the decisions they make? That's my thing. And then to address your question, you know what? God gave us the power of choice. We all have the power of choice. And saying men are trash is really not calling out his creations, but calling out their behaviors within the power of choice that they have. So when I'm saying men are trash, I'm not saying Mudinda as a whole is trash. I'm saying the behaviors that you believe are right and that have been, placed in you from birth to whenever, generational behaviors and things. Those are the things that are trash. That's where the problem is. Be it psychological, be it in whatever, state. That's where the problem is, the behaviors. So when I say trash, you can't say used and who was using it and whatnot. We're talking about your behaviors, not you as a person. We're talking about your behaviors, your decisions, and how they affect the gender around you, your women, your children, and the like.
Let me bring in Vaughn.
I hear that, and I think that is powerful, that they're calling out the behaviors. Then I think maybe we might need to then use a phrase or a term that alludes to that a lot better than trash.
But it's not to make you comfortable. That's the thing. We're trying to get you guys to move out of your
and there are
comfort
many
zone.
other ways to making somebody feel or raising those issues. Because and I like the question she also asked, is that where are the men? We live in a country that's been scarred by its history, and not to blame anything on it, but it is. We know it's not a mistake that men are not present in the households. It has been done so purposefully. So we know where they are. They've been removed from the households, and that's just been generations and generations of that happening. So coming back to that, should we not then say that, come up with a better phrase to then highlight these issues that we have within our society, instead of saying men are trash? Even though when you say you can recycle trash, that is consumer mentality. You recycle trash to use it again.
What if the phrase
consumable.
was,
It's a
But
consumable.
what's the phrase you want to now use to soften the blow? Because
men are recyclable trash? How is that?
no.
I personally think the phrase is so dead-ended. Like, men are trash, full
Exactly.
stop.
It
And
does
I
not
think that's
leave
what
room
we
for
need to
anything.
move towards. Men need to. I know it's not as poignant, as in it doesn't have that effect, but the men are trash. It's just so final.
And that's the thing.
There's no hope. There's
Imagine
no
There's no home.
No,
there's
they shouldn't be.
Whoa,
the point
okay.
is that you guys move away from those behaviors. Imagine saying, no, don't call a man trash after you've been raped. No, that might not sound too nice. Let's try find another way to, it doesn't work that way. Because when you're coming from a point of pain and experiences with men, the last thing you're trying to do is make them comfortable in their already rotten mindset. What we're trying to do here is move them and get them to account, own up, and be better and do better as men.
coming
by
on
us
strong.
women.
You're coming on strong.
I want to understand. So I want to understand that. So we set, and then we decided let's look at this equation, right? Now we're looking at the equation because hashtag men are trash.
To rush you a bit.
Okay, hashtag men are trash. It's basically a mathematical thing. So we found that, okay, we need to find X.
Solve for X.
And then when we solved the X, we found that, okay, missing, psychologically problem, mother raised. Then we said, therefore, trash. So now that we found that, therefore, trash. So now we want a solution. How do we fix this problem? We need a formula.
Okay. No, I hear you. Look, we've just touched and the surface. So there's still so much more that we could have discussed, but unfortunately we've run out of time. I'd like to thank you, all of you individually, for sharing your opinions so passionately. I do believe that it has really helped to move, or maybe to understand each other. Maybe this can open a conversation where we can further find each other in the future. So really thank you for coming. We men can change if we allow Jesus Christ, the one who saves, who sanctifies and satisfies. Thank you so much for watching the show. We have much more for you. Please join in next time when we discuss an issue that really affects you. This has been The Chosen Generation. Thank you so much and goodbye.